Continuing in the Don Bluth Marathon of Reviews, we have All Dogs Go to Heaven. This movie came out in 1988, and of course was directed by Don Bluth. It tells the story of a dog named Charlie Barkin, who is moided by another dog named Carface, and he goes to heaven. But he has unfinished business, so he takes this pocket watch from heaven, rewinds it to give him life, and goes back down to Earth to get sort of a revenge. And he is told if he goes back, he can never come back to heaven. He is told that all dogs go to heaven when they die, even though they've been bad. Because Charlie, not a very good dog, but because dogs are obedient and well-mannered, they all go to heaven, I guess. And while Charlie goes back to the land of the living to get revenge, he stumbles across the fact that Carface has a human little girl named Anne Marie. And yes, he slowly learns to have a conscience. So, piece of the couch. Yes, first and foremost, the cast. You have, the late, great Burt Reynolds as Charlie Barkin. By his side is Dom DeLuise as Itchy. Vic Tanega, I don't know, as Carface. And some others. Charles Nelson Riley as Killer, which is Carface's second in command. Sorry, Itchy. This was... I was waiting for that. This was one of my favorites growing up. I used to watch it all the time. Had it on VHS that I would watch. I always like this opening. The opening depicts Charlie and Itchy escaping from the pound. We do find out later that Carface was the one who got them put in the pound, and now that they're out, Carface plans on getting even with Charlie, and that's how he moides him with a car. And like I said, Charlie goes to heaven. He finds out from this heavenly dog that no matter how bad a dog was in real life, they all go to heaven because they're naturally well-mannered, I guess, and obedient. Charlie realizes he's been murdered and decides to use this pocket watch that apparently keeps them alive or whatever to go back and kind of get his revenge on Carface. In doing so, he does... I'm kind of retreading what I said already, but he finds Anne Marie, which is a human little girl that Carface has because she can talk to animals, and he's gonna use that to help with the betting odds. Which Charlie ends up doing anyway. He reunites with Itchy, and they have the little girl. One thing I always liked is... I know it's not anything special. Sorry, I'm tired. I'm doing this review and I'm gonna go sleepy. I know it's not anything special, but where Itchy and Charlie sleep when they have Anne Marie is this car where there's this drape thing in between the front and the back seat. I always thought it was cool to have something set up like that. I know it's like it's an old rundown car that they sleep in because they don't have a home, but still, I was so inspired by this that when I was younger, in me and my brother's room, he had it was a bunk bed, but not a bunk bed really. I had my own bed, and he had a bunk bed that was the bed on top. She slept in, and on the bottom was a couch that folded. They kind of, the couch underneath. What we used to do is take a sheet, like a bed sheet, and put it and so it covers over the front. And it was kind of like that, you know. I used to like doing that. I would listen to TV. My TV was in the corner on this stand. Back when, see, I was just on that stand now because TVs are light enough to sit up there now. But before, you had a big TV, you had to make sure it didn't fall. Because back then, they were big box heavy ones. But, yeah. And, yeah, I used to have it in the corner. And we had it set like that, and I could see kind of out the side, but I used to lay there on the couch thing and just watch TV. I miss that. Now, if I lay on the couch, anywhere for that matter, I fall asleep. You know. So, yes. This is where I'm going to stop and talk about the animation. It's Don Bluth. It's fantastic. And very good. And I want to point out something that I was looking up. So Don Bluth didn't direct any of the Disney ones that I was talking about. You know, I mentioned Robin Hood, Fox and the Hound, but he didn't actually direct those. He did the animation. We'll probably not need top 10 soon, but yeah. But yeah, and the one thing I've never really cared about, you know, Charlie, it's kind of like with not finding, Five not finding his parents and his family right away. Well, no, Charlie's not going to become a decent person or dog right away. It takes, you know, him forever to come around. Even, you know, he's talking to Itchy, and it's almost the end of the film, and he's like, oh, once I deal with this, once I get done using her, then we can throw her in an orphanage somewhere. And she overhears it and runs off. Yeah. He does chase her down, and we get the big lipped alligator moment where Charlie and Anne-Marie fall through these wooden floor, this very bad wooden floor. They fall through, and they meet this giant alligator with a bone through his nose, and he sings this song. But the one thing that I caught this time, so the Nostalgia Critic came up with the big lipped alligator moment, named after the alligator that shows up. He sings a little song and it's never mentioned again. But the alligator comes back and saves Charlie at the end. So I don't think they know what they're talking about. You know, maybe it should be big singing lizard thing moment, because that actually makes sense, because that singing lizard thing in Fern Gully comes out, he sings a rap song, it's Tone Loc. He does the Tone Loc singing song thingy, and then disappears and never seen again. Whereas the big lipped alligator comes back at the end to help Charlie. And Charlie's all about protecting his watch because it's his ticket to stay alive. But he saves Anne-Marie, but is not able to save the watch, which redeems him and he goes up to heaven. Carface ends up dead, and he also goes to heaven, and we get the thing at the end where he finds a watch and goes back down, so, But he's able to visit Anne-Marie and Itchy, who is adopted by Anne-Marie. I should mention, during this film, Charlie steals a wallet from this guy and this couple. And Anne-Marie has a daydream fantasy thing about being adopted by these two. And, you know, that's fun. But watching it, I'm like, I remember she does get adopted by these two. And I'm like, oh, that's cheesy. But it's a kid's film. It's a little cheesy. Oh, she has a fantasy about being adopted. And in the end, oh, they adopt her and Itchy for some reason. And Charlie's able to come back as a ghost. And then you got a sequel later and a TV show and a somewhat film called the All Dogs Christmas Carol, which I don't know. But yeah, Carface is able to collect Earth. So I don't remember the sequel at all. I don't even know if I'll watch it. because I watched the first one the most. This movie is fantastic. It gets a 9 out of 10. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's not as good as 9 Before Time, but it is still pretty good. The animation is good. The voice work is good. It's just great all around. 9 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on All Dogs Go to Heaven? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty. You can't keep a good dog down. No, 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 no. You can't keep a good dog down.